Alright, let's talk a little bit about Moira, just in general, before we hop into your VOD of you playing Moira. Moira obviously is a healer. She heals 65 HP a second. If you have a continuous stream on someone, she heals an additional. She has a continuous effect where if you spray someone, these gold plus signs will appear, which means that that teammate is being healed for an additional 65 HP over a frame of 4 seconds. So if I just sprayed this guy and he wasn't getting shot, well, I mean, he still is getting all the HP, but so like if I spray him, he's gaining 65 HP. He's still getting shot, but that's being countered a little bit by the fact that he is still being healed. And this can apply even if he has full health. You won't really see the effects unless they actually get damaged, I believe. But if I sprayed someone and he took some damage, let's get this guy up to full. So if I sprayed him now, he is still in that 4 second process. So he starts taking damage and he starts getting healed in that 4 seconds. So that's a good thing to note as Moira, because one of the most important things you want to keep in mind is Moira is managing your resources. Because if you run out of resources, if you spray, then you're just kind of useless. You have a heal orb and that's it. And then you have coalescence if you have that. But you need to be able to manage your resources to the point where you can, actually be able to heal your team, and specifically heal your tanks, who you're going to have to be pouring most of your resources in to keep them alive, especially in lower ranks, because tanks don't know how to not take damage in lower ranks, or even in most of the ranks I play in, to be honest. But, so, if you right-click on someone, you gain back the resources, which you should know, probably. But, so, there's a thing with regaining those resources. If you click and just continuously click instead of holding down, you actually gain your resources back quicker. You don't do as much damage, obviously, but I think if you hold it down, you get all your resources back in like 9 seconds. But you can get it much quicker by clicking, because the initial amount of resources that you gain is higher than the continuous amount of resources that you gain for keeping your reticle on someone and your stream on someone. So if you click someone, you will get your resources back quicker, which can be definitely helpful. So yeah, you can right-click someone from 20 meters away, which is this distance right here. Yeah, it's about 20 meters. So like, you can hit him from 20 meters away. So Moira has a pretty decent amount of distance where she can project damage onto other people. And then she can heal them 65 a second, as I said, and then an additional 65 for the next 4 seconds after I stop. So there's a lot of times where you can literally just click your team, like even if they don't have damage at the moment, like maybe they're about to jump into damage or you're about to get into a fight, you can literally just click your team, which uses pretty much minimal resources, and then they get heals going into the next fight for a little bit, and then you can heal as necessary. But obviously you want to be able to keep your resources up by doing damage as well. Coalescence, keep in mind that Coalescence does, I believe, 130 healing a second on teammates, and it does 70 damage a second on enemies. I believe the range of Coalescence is also 20 meters. Actually, it's more than that. Holy crap. It's 30 meters. You can hit people from 30 meters away with Coalescence, which is pretty insane. So keep all of that in mind. Those are just basic more things, but I felt should just give a general introduction. I mean, I didn't even talk about orbs, but the heal orb heals up to 300 damage on whoever it starts to hit, and then your damage orb does up to 200 damage if it can damage people. So yeah, let's go into the VOD. Alright, here we are. I just wanted to go through the general stuff, because I know you're new to the game, and I don't, I don't want to take it for granted what you might or might not know, because like, I don't even remember what I knew back when I was this low of a level, because like it's been like 3 years. So yeah, I just wanted to go through general Moira things so you can keep that in mind. But let's see how we do here. Alright, so the first thing that we really want to look at is team comp. So you have Orisa. So Orisa D.Va. So unless the D.Va is playing close to you, like you're not going to be able to heal her that well, because she can be off doing whatever. Same applies to Echo. So assuming that your Orisa and your Soldier play together at least somewhat, you should be able to get the brunt of the heals on them, and then Mercy will have to specifically pick up Echo, and then pick up D.Va if D.Va's not there. So you want to be able to understand who your main targets are when you're healing someone, or when you're on a team, and that really just goes with who your other healer is. When I play generally healer, I have an order, a priority of who I want to heal, and my main tank is my first priority. Like I want to keep my main tank up, because if my main tank's dead, then my team just really can't do anything at that point. My other healer and my off tank are my next priority. My other healer is probably slightly higher because I want to keep them up so that they can do their job, which makes my job easier. My off tank is also really important because they help the main tank do their job. The DPS heroes, they're less of a priority. Not to say that you don't heal them, but it's not like what I'm looking for the most part. Like I'm trying to keep my tanks up so that my team can stay in. And then specifically if I'm the main healer, which Moira is in this case, it's your job, the main healer specifically, to heal your tanks rather than your DPS, because your off healer, especially if your off healer is something like a Mercy or a Brig or a Zen, they heal squishy targets really well, and you are better at healing the bigger people. So in this case, you want to stay with the Orisa for the most part. You want to be able to keep the Orisa alive as much as possible, and the D.Va and the Mercy, and then the Mercy should be able to keep up with the other stuff. Alright, let's see what happens. Oh. There we go.
Enemy target located. Ability rear.
All right, so just talk about let's talk about like general positioning and stuff. Like this video, I might talk too much honestly in this video, especially considering that you're like anywhere between bronze and gold, depending on the day, I guess, or the hero. So like don't take this video and then try to like incorporate literally everything I say. Like try to work on a few different things that stands out, because I'm probably gonna mention a lot. But we'll see, I guess. All right, so the first thing that happens is you come through the bus. We see that the Hanzo is up on the high ground. That's bad because Hanzo can kill you really easily, especially if he has a Mercy damage boosting him, which he does. So you definitely want to stay behind your tanks, which generally you want to do anyways, because Moira gets her value from being able to pierce through multiple targets with their heals. So if you're behind multiple people, you get way more value. And I know you're trying to throw the damage orb to get some ult charge, which is fine. Like throwing damage orbs for ult charge is good, but you don't want to compromise your own life, because just when you're playing anyone in this game, but specifically definitely if you're the main healer or the main tank or any one of those like really important roles, dying is bad and you don't want to die. Like it was, prioritizing your own life over a teammate's is necessary sometimes. Like there will definitely be times where your team like goes way out and does something. Well, if your whole team is there, then you should be there, but like you'll have someone on your team overextend, like a singular person overextend and go somewhere, and if you go and you try to help them, you'll get killed as well, which is bad for your team. So sometimes you'll have to even make a decision to be like, yeah, I can't heal you because you're too far away. Maybe say in voice, hey, come back so I can heal you, but stay and then do your job, which is keeping your team alive. So yeah, this Hanzo's on the high ground. You don't really want to poke him, but you're kind of ahead of your team here, which you do slow down and let them go ahead, so that was good. But you want to, especially because you have a D.Va, especially because you have an Echo, people that can contest that high ground really easily, like maybe make a call out and say, hey, can we get that Hanzo? Can we help with that Hanzo? Because if he's just allowed to be there, he will wreck you. So damage orb. Another thing that I've noticed is that you stand still sometimes or do very minimal movement. You don't want to do that, like, at all. Never stand still in this game, because again, like, they have a sniper, especially if they have a sniper, they can just kill you and you'll just be dead. So like try not to just stand somewhere. It doesn't matter like what's going on, like even if y'all want to fight, like don't just stand there, because like someone might have respawned and come back and then boom, they just kill you and they can now take a fight because you're a main healer and you won't be there to heal your team. Another thing is using your fade. So fade is basically Moira's identity, because it's what keeps her alive, and that's like her main thing as a healer. Like she's good at being alive. So you don't generally want to use fade to you don't generally want to use Fade to aggress or like make to move somewhere quicker that you could get there easily without it. So if you use Fade, which you did, and then you move over here, which you didn't really need to Fade there, you probably could have just walked there to heal them. You just don't have Fade for 6 seconds, which is bad because then you're vulnerable. Like if the other team, if I'm playing and I say Moira, if I see Moira uses Fade, then that becomes a call out for me. Moira no Fade, Moira no Fade, because I want my team to be able to kill the Moira because she's vulnerable at that point. But until then, until she fades, like she's hard to kill. So yeah, I don't know what went on here. But speaking of standing still, you just stand still for a second. I don't know what went on, but it's fine, I guess. But yeah, try not to do that. So this is the other thing. Like, now... Alright, let's go back a little bit. Alright. Alright, so we have not even really been able to engage on this team, but you are already at like 20% of your resources, and you're going to use the other 20% like really quickly. This is not good resource management, which I know like you don't really know good resource management, like you just started playing the game, but I just want to keep like put that in your head, the fact that if you spray someone, they get 65 HP over 4 seconds, and you have another healer, and you have orbs. Like, you can throw a heal orb rather than use all of your resources on someone if you need to, because resources, if you can't suck someone, if you can't use your right click on someone, I believe your resource track takes 45 seconds to fill all the way back up, while your ball comes back in 10 seconds. So like if you can throw a heal orb at someone to save some of your resources, that's not a bad trade. So keep that in mind, because when you're actually going into this fight, which I believe your diva just got demacked, yeah, your diva just got demacked, when you're actually like pushing into this fight, like trying to actually engage on this team, which is harder because you have an Orisa and not a Rhine, but but you need to be able to pump heals into your team, else they're just going to die. Especially down here at this rank, people need heals to do anything. So yeah, utilize the fact that you can spray and then they'll heal themselves. Know that you have another healer that can also heal if you're not actually in the middle of fight, and use heal orbs if you need to do a bunch of healing at one. This is fine because your team doesn't need that much heals, except for the fact that you were just standing in the corner, which is not good. But Moira's damage does very little like damage to shields. Let's pause this. It doesn't do that much damage to shields, so generally you can do better things with your time than just spamming your right click at shields. Now, like this beeping is driving me crazy already, and this particular instance where you were fighting it back here, it's still beeping. I gotta go back. Okay, when you're doing this right here, like that's not that bad because your team like is like their mercy's there, they're healing them, they don't really need heals, so yeah, that was fine. But just keep in mind, in general, there's a lot of things that you can be doing with your time that's not just spamming shields with your right click, because it doesn't really get you anything. It doesn't get you alt charge. It doesn't get you resources back. It's not the biggest. It's not the way to maximize your usefulness when you're Moira. And keep in mind, before when we said that your right click suck goes 20 meters and coalescence goes 30 meters, because you are about to go pretty aggressive here. All right, so this is all still fine. You might as well get some shield damage, but okay. So just in general with coalescence, you have your orb available, and you can actually throw a purple orb and then animation cancel into your alt. So if you have orb available, hit E, throw your right click orb, and then immediately hit Q, and you'll animation cancel into your alt. And it's just a way to maximize your effectiveness at that point, because by the time you get out of coalescence, your orb is going to be coming off of cooldown anyways. So yeah, E, throw the orb, then you can coalescence if you want. But just in general, this coalescence, super aggressive with it. Again, you have a range of about 30 meters. You could have put that same pressure on Sigma from back here, just shooting that Sigma, and also being able to hit your team at the same time, because you want to be able to hit your team at the same time as much as possible. Because again, like you heal 130 HP a second and you do 70 damage a second. So like you're more effective when you're healing, but you do want to do damage too because like Coalescence goes through shields. It has a ridiculous range. It's really hard to get away from. So like obviously, yeah, do damage too, but also heal your team. Keep in mind that you can be pretty far away from them when you're doing that. Let's go back and look at that fight again. Because why not? Although I don't think anything that significant happens. Okay, yeah, that was a good orb. So you're still a bit too aggressive here. Because, like, in this case, why... Okay, they need to make these sounds go away when you pause. Okay, we're just gonna play it, whatever. So, basically, while you're up here and you're chasing these kills, like, you can't see what's going on behind you. And again, you can still get damage here. Like, if they go behind this, then y'all can change. But at that point, like, your team could have been being killed and you wouldn't have known because I believe you were up here, you were chasing a kill that was kind of where your team is now, but your entire team was generally behind you. Which, like, as Moira, your job isn't to be aggressive and to, like, be, like, right-clicking everybody. Your job is to keep your team alive first and foremost, and then do damage as much as you can while still keeping your team alive. So the first point of doing that is being able to know where your team is, obviously. Oh, I can pause it because the sounds are gone. Hey, awesome. So yeah, you want to be able to do your primary job, keeping your team alive, and then your secondary job of doing damage. Now, chasing kills when you've already won a fight can be fine, but just you need to make sure you've already actually won that fight, else you're just putting your team at risk at that point. As I said, don't stand still, which I believe you do on this cart. You were behind a shield, but it's just generally good just to not to build bad habits. So like if you're just standing here, if the shield goes away, you're standing still, their Hanzo can kill you. Also, there's really no point to stand on the payload like this much. Like your soldier's doing it and he's shooting. And that's fine. I'm not saying don't ever stand on the payload, but you can also you can use the payload as cover and still be effective. Like you can be here as Moira and then poke their team, spray your team so that they're healed. It's so weird that your shields are also red and so are theirs. I'm not really sure why that is. I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, try to be behind cover as much as possible. And like shields are not cover. Shields are an extension of cover. So like shields are what you want to use like between cover, honestly, because shields break, cover does not break. It's cover for a reason. And not to mention, especially if you have a Ryan, Arissa's shield obviously is stagnant, but Ryan lets you down all of the time to fire strike. He like drops a shield when you don't think he's gonna drop a shield, and then boom, you just die behind what was a safe spot just a second ago. And that's happened to me a ton, where I'm just like, chilling, hanging out behind my Ryan, and then Ryan's like, oh, I'm gone, dropping my shield, I'm fire striking, I'm charging, I'm whatever, and then I just die because I have nothing. So generally, yes, you want to be behind cover as much as possible. So yeah, you can use a payload, you can use this corner, you can use this blue car, spray your team. Like you can just spray your team a bit, because that, like, if you just like left click on your team, that basically rebuilds itself almost immediately, and then they have a little bit of leeway where they'll be healed if they take any damage. So yeah, just try to do things like that. Oh my gosh, we're 20 minutes into this video and only 4 minutes into the VOD. Alright, I'm gonna stop pausing as much. Yeah, for this one, listen out for your sound cues, because you could definitely, well, depending on your headphones, I guess. I don't know what type of headphones you have, but you could hear the Hanzo behind you. So try to keep that in mind. But again, sound cues and all that stuff you'll get used to more the more you play. So, but just try to keep it in mind, because like there are legitimately times you can just hear, well, the sound design of this game is really good. So like you can hear things behind you and just know where they are in general. So yeah, now you're just wildly spraying your resources around, which is inefficient. You can just spray a little bit and throw a heal orb if you need to and get the same amount of value without using all of your resources. So yeah, just walk through the shield. Just walk through the shield. Like, you don't need to break the shield. Just walk through it. What is the Lucio doing? He's just standing there. If there's any hero that should never stand still, it's Lucio. He can literally ride on walls. That's difficult, though. It took me a long time to be able to do that as Lucio well enough to actually do it efficiently. Yeah, like, good heals, good heals. Alright. Damage orb for trying to get some ult charge. I like that, too. Oh, you see the Rhine? Hopefully you're calling the Rhine in your voice chat. Which you probably were, considering your team went back to get it. But, yeah. So, again, so you know the Torb is to your right. Like, there's no need to, like, try to kill the Rhine shield. It's better to pick off the other... it's better to pick off the other heroes that aren't shielded, specifically the Torb at that point. But yeah, try not to stand still. You almost got killed by the Hanzo. All right, again, like you did throw the orb beforehand, so that was good. But again, there's no need to go right up in someone's face to coalescence them. You have, hey, you're online. You have quite a significant range that you can do with coalescence. So you guys roll them, and I know you end up winning this VOD because I've watched it before. But essentially, also you have Fade. You could use it to not die in the in the lava. That's just kind of a nitpick though, because you could have just known you were gonna die anyways. That was a bad fade though. You faded in to the other team, which there's really no reason to do that ever. Again, use fade to escape. I mean, obviously, did it matter that much because you capped the point, but just in general, try not to build bad habits, like I said before, which fade back to your team more often, fade to get like out of someone's line of sight and to cover, fade to save yourself, don't fade to be aggressive, because then you have basically no way to, keep yourself alive if something happens. Obviously, the one exception to that is like what I said before. If you're cleaning up a fight, then you can fade to like do the last blow on someone. That's fine, but in general, maximize the potential to stay alive rather than trying to be aggressive, because again, if you die, your team loses the fight most of the time. Oh wait, y'all had a lever? Y'all had a lever? I didn't notice that the first time. And you still win this game, so he probably comes back at some point. So yeah, this was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good from what I saw. I think the only thing I can really say is that, like, your positioning isn't great here. He misses the shot and you fade. I think he had to reload, so that was nice. That was a great fade. A good thing you had it. But then you healed well. You didn't run out of resources. You had resources like this entire fight. And you're playing with your tanks for the most part. That fade was probably unnecessary, but nice. Wait, y'all won that 5v6. Okay, nice. Oh yeah, I forgot. Dang it, the stupid video. So I believe in that first fight, your Orisa was on the high ground and you were on the point. I can't remember, and I'm gonna play this because the sound is really annoying. But like, there's no reason to just stay on the point, especially on New Bunny. You want to be with your tanks more specifically, especially if they're on the high ground. You want to take the high ground with them, and then in between fights, like, you definitely don't want to just stay on the point. Like, in between fight, just go back up to your position, come back to the high ground. If your tank is not taking the high ground, then yeah, whatever, you can't really take the high ground by yourself, but it's better if you tell them, hey, let's go to a good position so that we can actually have be ready for the next fight. Okay, yeah, so your 6th is back. I don't know how much more of this I'll do because I'm already at 25 minutes. And I think I've already said a lot for, like, just things to, like, think about in general and try to find out in your own play. Because, like, a lot of a lot of the ways you improve, I think the majority of the way you improve is being able to realize when you've made a mistake. Even if you win a fight, being able to realize when you being I don't know. I guess you'll have to find out when you watch this video. Being able to realize when you make mistakes is so key because then you can fix them. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you're DPSing entirely right now, and you don't know where your team is. So yeah, your team isn't getting healed by you because you're in front of your team. You don't know where your team is, and you're just DPSing. So yes, the answer to that question is yes. Right now you're DPSing too much. But the previous fight you healed pretty well. You had a good awareness of where your team was. You were able to heal them. Your diva went into critical. You were able to spray her. I think it was your Orisa actually. Yeah. Well, you did to the diva too, but there was a point where the Orisa went way into critical. You were able to heal her, and everything was fine. But in this fight, they engaged. They engaged from that right low point on Numbani. You were in front of your team. You didn't see your team the entire time. Some of them were on the high ground. It would have been difficult for you to heal them anyways, but your tanks were not. But you didn't know where they were because you were just in front of them. So yeah, again, like you make it a habit to be behind your tanks. There's no reason to be up front this much. All right, well, you at least hear the tracer cues. You turn around, you heal, so that's good. Your Mercy's on your Widow. Not anymore. Your Mercy's dead. Yeah, yep. Yeah, use it. You can use an orb. You can use the orb at that point. Okay. So when you orb, try as much to use the fact that it bounces. Like, you could have thrown it so it, like, I don't know, maybe it bounces weird off this wall, but you could have thrown it so it went in this room, bounced on this wall, and then came back through, and so that it heals you all the way as well. Like, if you, like, I mean, you don't in this room, but there are definitely rooms you hold in an Overwatch. If you were in this room holding with your team, you could literally just throw throw the orb so it bounces off the ceiling and then back, like so, and then it will just stay here for 10 seconds. Or until it heals 300 HP. Then you'll just be able to get healed by it the entire time. And then once it goes away, either through time, you can just throw another one, or once it uses 300 HP, well, then you've just gotten 300 ult charge. But again, yeah. So Coalescence also heals you for 50 HP a second, which is good. And you do get 2 kills, which is nice. But you faded. I'm not really sure why you faded there. I guess just to try to not take damage. But, like, you can heal yourself. You could just throw a heal orb and heal yourself if you're trying to fight that soldier. Alright, I'm probably only going to watch a little more of this. Well, actually, I'm almost done. I might as well finish it, right? I won't pause it anymore. So... yeah, you probably just knew you weren't going to get hit by that. Yeah, Pulse Bomb is tricky. Like I'm assuming you knew you wouldn't get hit by it, but you can always fade to not get hit by Pulse Bomb, or fade to get out of the effects of ults. You didn't get hit by the Sigma ult, but in case you needed to. Okay. Alright, so... speaking of DPSing too much. And, like, again, DPSing is fine. Like, you're gonna DPS as Moira, but you want to be able to utilize the fact that you have 20 meters to DPS from, and being able to heal your team throughout all of that. This is good. This is good. You hear the Tracer, you heal your team. Nice. Got Coalescence again. Okay. Heal Orb was good there. Now, if you bounce the heal orb off the wall so it came back to you, like, even better, but, like, it was still good. You used the heal orb when you needed to. So at this point, you want to heal your Mercy. Like, if you see your Mercy going for a res like that, and your team isn't helping her, your Diva should have been defense matrixing her, you want to be able to heal her as much as possible. So, like, preemptively, this is some Dragon Ball Z crap right here. So, yeah, so you want to be able to make sure that Mercy gets off that res as much as you're able to. So, yeah, just heal her. Yeah, so keep in mind your resources, which you're doing better at right now until just then. Yeah, know that you can heal your team. Just spray them, and they'll get a residual healing effect for 4 seconds, which will be good for them. Like you can just heal them right now. Use your heal orb if you have to save your resources. Don't use resources like before a fight. Like you don't want to be poking and then use all of your resources in the poke phase. Realize that was a good fade. Getting out of an ult, perfect. Good thing you had it. Good job. So know that you have a 20 meters for your right click and 30 meters for coalescence. So you don't have to engage close to the enemy team in order for those to be effective. Your coalescence for the most part has been very, very, very aggressive. So chill on that a little bit. Bring it back. Try to get heals for your coalescence as much as you're getting damage. There's probably other things. Oh yeah, keep in mind your positioning. Try to position behind cover and not just behind, I don't know, shields or in the middle of nowhere. Try not to stand still. Yeah, see, this is really aggressive. And you could do the same pressure from 30 meters away. I mean, you wouldn't literally be 30 meters away, but being able to pressure them from far away, and then if they run away, you can still chase them because you have the heightened coalescent speed, helping you chase and kill them. But you don't need to be right up in their faces. So yeah, you definitely had some fights where you were healing really well, you were doing DPS really well, but there are just some times where you just get a bit. You put on the closed blinders a little bit. Yeah, that was a difficult position for you because they were basically in the Sigma shield, which is unfortunate for you because you cannot heal through shields. But yeah, there are definitely times where you're putting the blinders on and like you got super into what you were doing, and then your team is dying behind you, which will lose you fights. So yeah, try to stay behind your tanks as much as possible. Know where your team is. That's a huge thing as being a support player, like being able to tell where your team is as much as you possibly can. So I mean, obviously, so you can heal them. So yeah, let's just go through your priorities. Healing your main tank, healing your off tank, healing your off support, and then healing your DPS. Keeping yourself alive is the most important thing, even if it comes at the expense of, not being able to save someone. But if your entire team is doing something dumb, go be dumb with them, because like you don't want to be like in the back going, guys, we shouldn't be doing this, and then your team dies because you're not with them. So just basic things like that. How many times I've said in this video? Probably quite a bit. Hopefully this video came out correctly. I guess we'll see. It's been 32 minutes, and I think I'm done. Oh yeah, try to send me VODs where you lose, not win, by the way. It's just better to learn from those. Specifically, if you feel like you can't do anything, like, oh, I think I played amazing this game, but I still lost. Like, those are the best VODs to go through, because there's always something you can be doing. Hopefully this helps. I guess we'll see. I'll put it on YouTube sometime soon. Alright.